Hello everyone, this is the experiment number 17. In this one, we'll see this serial number, practical number 23, 24, 25. That is 25. Develop a program for implementation of try, catch and finally block. Managing errors and exception handling help us to detect exceptional conditions in the program and fix the exception as and when they occur. Students will able to handle different types of exception using try, catch, finally block. Practical is expected to develop the following skills. Develop a program to generate and process the exception using try catch block. Write a program to execute the finally block. So errors are the mistakes that can make the program go wrong. Errors may produce wrong results and terminates the execution of the program or may cause the system to crash. Detecting and managing the errors is very important during the program execution. Types of errors, compile time errors and runtime errors. An exception handling task. First one, find the problem, that is called hit the exception. Inform that error has occurred. So that is throw the exception. Receive the error information, that is catch the exception, and take corrective actions, it is handle the exception. So total process is called the exception handling. So here some common exceptions are there. So the purpose of exceptions are written here. Just go through this one. And next, categories of exception, checked exception and unchecked exception. So I have already explained in unit 4 what is checked exception and unchecked exceptions. So checked exceptions are explicitly handled in the code itself using try catch block. These are extended from the java.lang.exception class. Unchecked exceptions are not necessarily handled in the program code. Instead, the JVM will handle such exceptions. So these extended from Java Lang runtime exception class. The exception handling code try block is used the block of code that causes an error condition and throw the exception. Catch keyword is used for the block of code that catches the exception thrown by the try block and handle it properly. So here try block is there and catch block is there. So in this try block, the statement that causes an exception you should write in the try block, and catch block, try block will throw the exception object that is caught in the catch block. So statement that handle the exception you try. So catch block is called the exception handler and try block is called the exception object creator. So this is the mechanism of exception handling. And try block that generate the exception statement that generate the exceptions you should write it in the try block and the process of exceptions. So catch block and finally is optional. So finally statement handles the exception that is not caught by any of the earlier catch statements. It is used to handle any exception generated within the try block. It is written immediately after the try block or after the last catch block. So finally block is optional. So it is executed whether the code inside the finally block will be executed whether the exception is occurred or not occurred. So here some of the question and answers are there. How exception is thrown by the main method and differentiate between error and exceptions, and can we throw exception manually, and with the example explain the use of finally block. So how exception is thrown in the main method. When the exception is thrown by the main method, Java runtime terminates the program and print the exception message. When the exception is thrown by the main method, JVM prints the exception to start the console and terminates. It is valid to add throws with the main method. The rules for exception for the main method is same as it for the other methods. When throws is added to the method declaration, then it is responsibility of the calling the method to handle the exception. Here JVM calls the main method, so thrown exception is handled by JVM. So differentiate between error and the exception. Errors are caused by lack of system resources. Errors are recoverable. There is no means to handle the error by the program code. Errors are classified in an unchecked type, out of memory, stack overflow. These are coming under the errors. Exceptions are caused by our programs are called the exceptions. So, and exceptions are recoverable. Exceptions are handled using three keywords: try, catch, and throw. And exceptions are classified as a checked or unchecked type, but errors are the coming under the unchecked types. Examples are null pointer, index, out of bounds exceptions. Can we throw the exception manually? You can throw the user-defined exception or predefined exception explicitly using the throw keyword. So with the example they told, so here we have taken the one example, class negative. What is the this one class name? It is a negative demo only. I will show this negative demo file open negative demo. Negative demo Java class. So this program, this I think the screen is not so set. So negative extends exception, negative super keyword you have to use, super on the message. So here age is 0, buffer reader, you are taking the age of the person, age and name of the person through the keyboard. So once you are taken, when you are entering the number through the keyboard, that is in the form of string, that you have to convert it to integer. So integer dot parse it. Using this wrapper class, we are converting this string into the integer. And after that, converting this one, we are using name. You are taking as it is. If age is less than 0, it throw the exception, that is age is negative. Else it throws age is positive and then exception. So I will run the program exception demo negative demo is there now. Okay. Code CLS clear the screen Java C negative demo D is small or no small negative demo dot Java. So run the program. So enter the age. Suppose I am entering minus as 12 and name as AA and then negative. Age is negative. Is it clear? So again I am running Java negative. Now I am entering age is positive and name. That is, so this is what age is positive. This is the exception is thrown. If the negative age is negative, otherwise it throws the positive age. And next, explain the use of finally block. Java finally block that is used to execute important code such as closing connection stream. Java finally block is always executed whether the exception is handled or not. Java finally block follows the try catch block. And then develop a program to accept the password from the user and throw the authentication failure exception if the password is incorrect. So here same thing, we are taking the password and that password you are comparing this. So Buffer reader, what is the object? bin. So bin dot read line. So whatever the user enter password is here, that equals to your defined password is abc123. So both are equals, that is a system dot out dot println authenticated. Else wrong रहेगा तो you have to throw the exception, that is the authentication failure exception. So it is the authentication failure. The enter password is wrong, abc345 I have entered, that is the authentication failure exception is occurred. So that will complete this